What's going on, everyone? Mark right here. I hope you enjoy this interview with UFC lightweight Matt Frevola. He'll be facing Drew Dober at UFC 288 on May 6th. How you doing, my man?
Doing good, bro. Just enjoying the fight camp grind.
Yeah, I saw earlier on your Twitter that you had a tan going on, man. You're outside sitting down in front of your gym. Tell me about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's starting to get nice up here in New York. It's spring now. I think yesterday was like the first day of spring, so the sun's out, and it's still a little cold. It's still like 50s. Like it was. I think it got up to 60 today, but the sun was out, so I had to get some sun.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned to me that you train like from sunrise to sundown. Is that like normal for you in every fight camp?
Yeah, man. I mean, fight camp. I'm training 2, 3 times a day usually, but you got to be smart. You got to listen to your body, and you got to take that time to recover when you can.
Well, it seems like that work's paying off, man, because you've won your last two fights by first round knockout. Now you're scheduled to fight Drew Dober. So is that official? Like both contracts are signed?
Yeah, it's official.
How would you describe, what he brings as an opponent? Because he had a stellar like 2022, man. He's been on a roll. How would you kind of describe him as an opponent?
Dude, he's an amazing fighter, man. He's got one of the best like highlight reels of knockouts in the UFC I've ever seen, um, which excites me. I got into this. I want to fight the best in the world. I want to test myself against the best guys, and I wanted a big fight, and we got it.
Do you think this is like the most important fight of your career so far? I mean, he has that number 14 rank next to his name. I mean, is that extra motivation for you?
Yeah, it definitely is. But it's always the next fight. The next fight's always the most important fight.
Okay. And I kind of want to rewind just a little bit, man. I've just kind of I'm always curious about hearing people's uprising and how they got into the sport. Tell me a little bit about what made you want to become a fighter. Was there a specific person, specific fight? What was that?
Dude, I was born a fighter. you know, uh, I was always an athlete growing up, playing baseball, playing football. I did taekwondo when I was a kid, breaking boards and all that. And then I started wrestling, and wrestling uh, was really transformed me, and taught me about hard work, taught me about grit, and then I found Matt Serra, I found Sarah BJJ, and I started doing jujitsu, and uh, and then I moved down to Tampa, Florida. I went to school at University of Tampa, and Matt Serra linked me up with Matt Arroyo, where I met Billy Q down there, and then I had all my amateur fights down in Tampa. I had the beginning of my pro career down in Tampa, and then I moved back home to Long Island, New York, about 6, 7 years ago, and I've been training full time with Ray Longo, Matt Serra, and just chasing the dream.
You mentioned Billy Q. Talk to me a little bit about that friendship because you've known him for a while. I've seen on your Twitter that you kind of gave him a shout out. Talk to me a little bit about him, and then how have you seen him grow and evolve as a fighter since you've met him?
Yeah, it's a crazy story, really. Like the first week I moved down to Tampa, I go to Matt Arroyo's gym, and the first day I'm on the mats, I meet this kid, this skinny looking kid. We're at jujitsu class, and he's got like UFC gloves on from Walmart, and uh, and we're doing jujitsu, and we just start hitting it off, and I was like, yeah, I just moved down to Tampa from Long Island, New York. He's like, oh, I just moved down from Buffalo, and he had one amateur fight at the time, and I had no amateur fights, and he was saying he wanted to be a fighter, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a fighter too, and ever since then we've been training together, we've been pushing each other, we've been helping each other, and it's a great like competitive friendship, and we lived together down in Tampa, and back then we were just dreaming about these days when we would be both be in the UFC, both making our climb, and now we're here.
Yeah, I see that he has a big fight coming up too against Edson Barbosa. So That one should be a banger. I mean, what do you expect, from Billy? Because I mean, you train alongside of, you've known it for so long. So what do you think? What do you think this like opponent in specific? Because Edson Barbosa has fought the who's who of the division. What do you think Billy will bring to his fight coming up?
Yeah, Billy's gonna come forward. Billy's gonna be in his face all day, and he's gonna break him. I always say classic Billy Q. He comes out there, he takes the best the guy's got, and then he breaks them and he pours it on. And I see the same thing. I see him going out there, being in Edson's face all day, mixing it up on him, and breaking him, and then finishing him.
Okay. And I know you known Billy for so long, and I'm sure there's been other people that's had your support as well. Has there been any specific people that, family members or even other fighters that you looked up to like, throughout your journey, like mentors or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Matt Serra, Ray Longo, Chris Weidman, and like Aljamain Sterling, just watching how Matt Serra upset GSP, and then Chris Weidman upsets Anderson Silva, and then Aljamain Sterling upsets Peter Yan. All those three guys are Long Island guys, Long Island born and raised, and to kind of see you know people from where I'm from being able to reach the top of the mountain and get UFC gold is just inspiring. It makes me why not me? Why can't I be the next one?
It's pretty cool, to hear that, man, because you have so many former champions in your fight, in your camp, surrounding you, whatever. Like, do you make sure to get that advice from them and ask them like, how do I get to that position, or is it like, do they just come? Does it come naturally, like the communication?
Oh yeah, man. I'm constantly learning from Aljo, and just kind of watching, listening, just always learning, and I think I'm where I'm at because of it.
And I saw, your last outing you were fighting at MSG. How was that like? I mean, you're a New York kid. Was that like a dream come true for you? Like, was it kind of like surreal just being in that arena in that moment in front of the fans?
Yeah, man, it was pretty amazing, and then to get the finish like I got, just nice clean first round knockout. It was a dream come true, and like I say, yeah, like I don't know what's gonna top it, but I think May 6th we're gonna top it.
Okay. And kind of, what were your feeling during that walkout? Because I'm not a fighter, obviously. All right, I'm the one that interviews the fighters, but I'm always so curious to know about like a fighter's mindset heading into the octagon. Like, are you nervous? Are you just you don't care? Like, what's your thought process when you make that walk?
I'm dialed in, man. I'm ready. I'm just saying, all right, let's do this. Let's fucking do this. The time is now. It's like the whole camp, the whole preparation, it all leads up to one fight, and then the whole fight week, the whole weight cut, make weight, the face offs. You look at them in the eyes, and then the whole warm up, and then the walkout, and then there was only one thing left to do, and that's to fight. And I'm more just like let's do this. Let's fucking do this. I'm ready, and and then we do it.
Yeah. I mean, you had that finish, man. Walk me through that knockout because it came pretty fast. Was that something you worked on during your camp? Was that left hook something that you made sure to do, or did it just come out of nowhere?
Well, I'm always working on the left hook. Through like the beginning of my career, I was a big right hand guy. The old F bomb, just winging this right hand. But I'm evolving. I'm constantly improving. So we developed the left. The left bomb. And what you have to do at the highest level. You have to evolve, and you have to be deadly everywhere and have many different weapons, and that's what I have. I've got a lot of weapons.
Absolutely, man. And it's pretty cool hearing you call out Patty Pimblett, man, after the fight. Is that something that you're still aiming for? I mean, I know you're focused on May 6th, but if things go your way, is that the fight that you want to make happen?
Yeah, definitely. I'm fully focused on Drew Dober. Dober's a tougher fight than Patty. But that fight, me and Patty will happen eventually, and I think once I finish Dober, I think I'm gonna beat up Patty at MSG in
What
November.
why Patty though? Like what about him do you want, to beat him up? Like what makes him want to be your next opponent? Is there like a specific reason, or do you just want to beat the guy up?
He needs to be humbled. We all need to be humbled, and who better to humble him than me?
Okay. And I have to ask, man, because your team has been in the news recently, right? With the whole Aljamain Sterling Merab storyline, you know what I mean, going on. They're top of the division, but they're not really interested in fighting each other, apparently, right? They're teammates. Dana White's come out to say that's not really a good idea. Are people blowing this out of proportion, or is it something not even to think about because they're teammates, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. They fight every day in the gym. As much of a, even though it's only, it's only one of us in the cage. You need a team. You need training partners, and that forms bonds. That forms brothership, and that's more important than fighting. It's the relationships we build, and they said they won't fight each other, and the UFC needs to respect that. I think there's ways that both of their careers can move forward without them fighting each other. Aljo's got his fight booked against Cejudo May 6th. I think Aljo handles business May 6th, beats Cejudo, and then they figure out where they want to go from there. There's more fights for Marab. There'll be fights for Aljo, um, and I just wish that the promotion would respect that and get behind that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And Aljo, like you said, is fighting Cejudo. What do you think? I mean, I've seen this back and forth on Twitter, right? Henry saying something, Aljo's responding. What do you think is gonna play out during their fight? I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of animosity building up right now. So what do you think? What do you expect Aljo to bring out? Because he is a beast in his own right, man.
Yeah, man. Aljo's got a very unorthodox, like slick striking. You know, he gets a lot of heat for it, but you'll see like his range distance and his kicks and his length. I think is gonna cause a lot of problems for Cejudo. And then Cejudo's gonna try to close the distance and wrestle him, but guess what? Aljo can wrestle too. And then once it gets to those grappling exchanges, I don't think there's anybody better in the world than Sterling with the jiu-jitsu and with the grappling. So I'm gonna say the human backpack, the human Jansport, the human anaconda. Aljamain is gonna strangle Cejudo.
Now, say like Aljo beats Cejudo, do you expect Aljo to like move up in weight? Because I mean, there's always been the talk of a champion moving up, maybe getting another belt in another division. Do you expect that to happen sometime in the future, or do you think he's comfortable at bantamweight?
Yeah, I think definitely eventually he'll move up, and he said that he's a big 35er. There's no doubt. And I love to see really any champion chase greatness and go up a weight class and look to get another title. And I see Aljamain doing the same thing.
Man, and speaking of greatness, man, I'm always so curious about like Mount Rushmores and people's goats. Do you have like a specific like Mount Rushmore for welterweights, like UFC welterweights? Is there like a specific like four people that stood out to you?
Yeah, welterweights. I mean, you got to put GSP up there, and then you got to put my guy Matt Serra, who knocked out GSP. And then 170, man. You got to put Usman there. Usman is an amazing fighter. So technical, so good everywhere. So I definitely put Usman there. And then 170, maybe maybe throw Matt Hughes up there.
Okay. All right. Hey, that's a good list, man. That's a good list. I mean, shout out to Matt Serra because I've seen on Twitter that you actually have a tee coming out. You didn't really put a release date, but I like that tee. Tell me about that idea. When is that coming out, and whose idea was it to kind of put that together?
Yeah, that was my brother, man.
Okay.
My brother was working with Millions, and Millions is a great company who helps a lot of fighters, a lot of athletes pump out merch, and they're great people there, and they make it too easy for us. They put it all the designs up on the website, and then they make the shirts and they send them out. So I'm excited. Those shirts should be live soon. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting mine.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And kind of kind of referring to like the top of the lightweight division, you had Alexander Volkanovski fight Islam Makhachev. What do you think about that? Did you kind of score the fight for Islam or for Volkanovski?
Uh, I thought it was a close fight, but I thought Islam won. But again, in a close fight, you know, uh, in a close fight, it could go either way. So you can't really be mad if it goes either way.
Yeah. Do you have any like dream opponents of your own? Like, is there? It could be like past, present. Is there like a specific group of people that you'd like to, share the octagon with down the road?
Yeah, we talked about him before, Paddy Pimblett eventually. I love the energy he brings. But I feel like I want to fight him in London. I think that would be so cool to go to enemy territory and fight him there. And then past I would always think it would be so cool. I'm such a huge BJ Penn fan, and being able to mix it up with BJ would have been cool.
Okay. And kind of one of the last questions I got for you, man. Big lightweight fight down the road is going to happen. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. It's going to be happening sometime this year. There's no really scheduled date. There are coaches on tough. What's your prediction for the fight, and what are your thoughts on McGregor's, return from injury?
Yeah, I think McGregor does well with these guys who he's got the reach on. Like he's been saying, like the Chad Mendez McGregor fight, I could see it going similar to that. Um, but we'll see. I think they're fighting at 170. I think Connor's gonna look a little bit different in there with all the muscle he's put on. Um, so it'll be interesting to see, how he looks, uh, with all that muscle that he's put on. Um, but I think it's just gonna, make his strikes sting that much more. Chandler's a dog, though. You can't count him out. So we'll see. I'm very interested in that fight. Um, but I'm gonna have to go with McGregor.
You were on one of his fight cards. Is that right? I mean, it was him against Poirier too. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was on that one out in Fight Island.
How was that like? How was that experience on Fight Island? It seemed pretty interesting to be there back in during COVID.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was I was really happy that I was able to get that fight during COVID, like on Fight Island. I think it's something that I'll be able to look back at and be and think it's cool. When the world was shutting down, the UFC was just still pumping fights out. Bought an island in Abu Dhabi and flying all the fighters out there, and I'm glad I got to do that. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I saw that. I think he posted maybe a couple hours ago on Twitter of his signature. You know how they
Yeah,
just like want that one liner. Yeah, that was
yeah.
kind of. I was trying to look for it. I was like, what is like, where is it at? Like, I was kind of confused. But you mentioned that.
It was literally a little line.
Yeah, yeah, man. But yeah. I mean, do you have any like goals for yourself? I mean, at the end of the day, say you call it a career, what accolades do you want to like, put together on your resume? Is there like a certain um, height that you want to reach, like title, Hall of Fame? Is that on your mind right now?
I want to be a champion of the world. That's the goal. That's the goal from the beginning. Um, and this fight against Dober, gets us where we want to be. I already have a win over top 10 guy and Jalen Turner. I've I fought another top 10 guy in Armin, and now we're gonna get to fight Dober. So I think I get that win, and then we're exactly where we want to be.
That's all I have for you, man. Look, I really appreciate you. So good luck to you, man, and thank you so much for this.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the support from everyone. Since I really started this push on Twitter, it's been fun to interact with everybody and just feel the love, share some laughs, and joke around, and uh, and I'm a fan just as much of a fighter, and uh, and I love this shit. So it's fun.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm waiting for you to be on Embedded, man. I want you to be on Embedded because you're a very like outspoken person, and I love it, man. So I appreciate it again.
Yeah, hopefully I will be in embedded. I know they'll be following Aljo around, so I'll be around.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, should be cool.
All right, my man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, bro. Nice talking.